And that's CTV News at 5 for this Wednesday. Thanks so much for joining us. CTV News at 6 with Erin Isfeld starts right now.
CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Erin Isfeld.
If you violate the rules that we have laid down, you will now be subject to stringent penalties and fines with rigorous enforcement behind them.
This step is serious, and it is necessary.
Public health orders will now be enforced by law. Zero tolerance for those who refuse to self-isolate after traveling or ignore physical distancing rules. Individuals face a $1,000 fine. That jumps to $100,000 for groups or businesses. These extraordinary powers for peace and police officers come as Alberta faces its most dramatic day-over-day increase in new COVID-19 cases. Good evening. The Premier again today showing frustration that some Albertans, in his words, just aren't getting it. These new rules are the province's next step in the battle against the COVID-19 spread. CTV's Matt Woodman at the Legislature tonight, joining us live with the latest. Matt?
Well, Erin, Alberta Premier Jason Kenney says not enough Albertans are following the public safety guidelines that are in place in order to prevent COVID-19 from spreading. He says it's actually endangering some Albertans' lives. So as a result, he says the province will now use the full force of the law in order to legally require people to act responsibly, prevent the spread of COVID-19, and protect public health. Police and peace officers will fine anyone who attends a gathering with more than 50 people. They'll fine anyone who has symptoms, tests positive, or has close contact with a positive patient and doesn't self-isolate. They'll also fine anyone who returns to Alberta from outside of the country and does not immediately self-isolate. Individual Albertans could face fines up to $1,000. Businesses could face fines of $100,000 or closer to $500,000 for any subsequent offense. Alberta's health minister says there is a hotline of sorts for Albertans to report anyone breaking the rules. He says that hotline already receives an average of 1,600 complaints a day.
I don't expect that police officers are going to come up and interrogate whether somebody just came back to the country or not, but I think the more likely scenario where these powers would be used is if a group of more than 50 people springs up in a park, let's say, the weather gets better, and suddenly you see pop-up picnics with several dozen people. Then the peace officers could go and break up such an event, and if necessary, issue fines.
There are 61 new cases of COVID-19 in Alberta. That brings the provincial total to 419 cases. 20 patients are in hospital, including 8 people in the intensive care